Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Let's Play Everyday 2022. I, of course, would be Tim McNiff. That would be C. Willi Myles and Darrell Thompson joining us once again. Good to see you, gentlemen. See, Willi, are you back home in the metro for at least the time being?
Yes, I am. Tomorrow I leave again, but I am home.
And we thought we were going to be four, and we are. There she is. Tanishka Mhaskar joining us.
T-Bone.
Good morning.
T-Bone showing up. Late.
Good morning.
Willi thought you might still be engaged with people on Twitter from last night's Vikings game.
Not yet. That's a later in the day's activity.
So are you still in Plymouth?
Yeah, this is my last week of break. We start next Monday, so I'm leaving on Saturday.
Okay, well, appreciate you giving some time to us. We do appreciate that. Of course, the A topic, the game last night. Darrell Thompson's former Green Bay Packer himself, his team crowned again champions of the North, and the road to the Super Bowl to the NFC runs through Titletown, through Lambeau Field. Boy, we weren't together last week, but I'll just ask any of you before we get into the details of last name. Show of hands, was anybody surprised that in the most Minnesota Vikings thing ever, that Kirk Cousins came down with coronavirus, COVID-19, went into the protocol, and was not eligible to play in the most critical game of the year?
No, it was funny because before the season started, I was texting one of my friends who was an Eagles fan, and he was like, the Vikings roster looks pretty good this year. And I was like, well, knowing us, we'll probably get COVID before the most important game of the year. And he sent me that screenshot from like August. And I was like, yeah, I called it.
Willi, this is a guy who you have struggled to support.
I did not struggle, Tim. I did not struggle. Look, man, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm a football fan. Like, the beauty of growing up in Alabama is that you didn't have a professional team. So I just love football. I despise Kirk Cousins. I just think that the man should wear a ski mask. All he did was came here and robbed this team of money. I don't care about how good his stats. I've said this in a post the other day. His stats has been the same his whole 10-year career. This is all he's done. He's won nothing. Zilch. I don't know how he got to earn $100 million. I don't understand it. I guess I really do in my head, but I don't like to say that kind of stuff out loud. But anyway, to me, to be a team leader is that you got to walk out on a team and you got to bring your team out on the field. And if you're not willing to do what it takes to bring your team out on the field, and last night was a prime example. He's sitting at home and this team is out there. They're freezing their butts off. They're working hard. They're trying to win. They bring in a guy. Honest to God, I had to look him up. Never heard of the cat. You know what I mean? My stats are better than him as a quarterback, I believe. And at the end of the day, I don't understand what they thought they were going to get out of that. I didn't. And to me, it all comes down to this is how it ends for the Vikings. It doesn't matter what next season looks like. This is how it ends this year. And that's horrible for the amount of talent that they had on that team. But for the amount of selfish people they had on that team that wouldn't do what it takes to make themselves available for the team for the season. And that's all of them. I don't care if you're a Pro Bowler or not. I don't care. You missed some games that were probably crucial because of your inability to just do, everything you could to be ready to play.
Darrell, we went into this season. Well, Aaron Rodgers hijacked the NFL draft back in April. I mean, with dropping this little thing to Adam Schefter of the day of the draft, I might not want to play there next year. And then he had this little hide and seek game where he did throughout the course of the summer, but there he was on draft day and he was there in time. I'm here in Plymouth pulling as hard as I can, hoping that this Packer thing falls apart. And here we are in January. They have their third consecutive 13-win season. He's going to be the NFL MVP. The road to the Super Bowl runs through Green Bay. and the Vikings are about to head to regime change. As someone who is outside of this, you're so involved in Minnesota, in so many aspects, but you get to be this, you're a Packer, right? That's your team. I have an outsider perspective on the Vikings. Where are they? How do they move forward?
I'm not really sure. I think there's a lot of things to look at, from the general manager to obviously the quarterback situation, and then just kind of typical, our guys aging out of their positions. Tanishka posted a, look at the salaries of all the players, and are we top heavy? And all teams are top heavy. But if your top heavy guys are the main guys, if Mahomes is your top heavy guy, and if Tyreek Hill is your top heavy person, and Travis Kelce is your top heavy, well, I don't care. They score touchdowns. They make points. They make it difficult. But if your top heavy is Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter and some guys that are like on the shelf and not available for you, then it makes it a much, much more difficult decision. So I think there's a lot of really hard decisions that need to be made. And I don't envy him. It's hard. Everyone wants to like kind of, be nice. And that's what we want to do across the world. And right now, there's going to be some difficult decisions that need to be made with the Minnesota Vikings here over the course of the next probably 6 weeks.
Tanishka, are we headed for regime change, and does it happen before the Chicago game on Sunday?
Honestly, well, yes, we are, but I don't think it needs to. I'd hope that now that they're eliminated, they do play rookies and some of the young players a bit more. Even though I think yesterday it was reported that Kirk should be back for Sunday, so of course he's back when it's over. But I think
Maybe
Spielman needs to go more than anything. Zimmer's probably gone, and you can probably get a lot from Cousins this offseason per trade value. So I think this is a good time to move on before you really have to sink into that $45 million hit. And I just think most of all, Spielman's drafting has just been awful for a couple of years now. I feel like the last good draft was really 2015, the year he got Hunter, Diggs, Waynes. I think Kendricks might have been in that draft. Or that draft was probably the last good draft he's had. So it's just like a year of like 3 or 4 years now of paying Cousins all this money and not drafting well, so you can't support the roster in other ways. So he needs to go first thing, and Zimmer's probably already gone. Even though it's not going to happen until next week officially. So that's a good start, but it might be they're probably heading toward a full-scale rebuild.
How about a hotline to see what you can do to get Garoppolo? I think you could solve a lot of problems with Garoppolo. Package up, some people, see if you can get some draft choices out of that deal, and just let Kirk Cousins go, because I think like he might be a medium to long-term solution at the quarterback position, and he's quite handsome. I've heard a person I work with, she goes, Tim Garoppolo is on Sunday. Yes. Oh, did you see the game? I said, yeah, I watch all the games. Yeah. Oh, and she doesn't watch any football. She's like, oh, Garoppolo. Yeah, he was.
That's what we're going for now.
21. Yeah.
We're just looking for somebody handsome right now.
He's handsome and he can play football. Yeah.
I don't think the 49ers will be scrapping to keep him. As a matter of fact, if I was San Francisco, Trey Lance would play the last game of the year now that they've sewn up a playoff spot. And if Green Bay's on the bye, Trey Lance would start the playoff game, and Trey Lance would play against Green Bay at Green Bay, because if you go back, there was a guy by the name of Colin Kaepernick who got the Packers their favorite to win a playoff game and ran them to freaking death. And right. That's Jimmy Garoppolo can't do that. So no. That's my take on that. So Willi, Tanishka raised this point, and I'm not just saying this to bait you, brother. I mean this, okay? So the Vikings are going to owe Kirk Cousins $45 million. But they're going to have to move on. They are going to have to move on. I don't see San Francisco as being a trading partner for him. Maybe they could come back for a Garoppolo deal if they wanted that, but they've got to go to a Denver or I think Seattle potentially, because Seattle, Russell Wilson, I don't think is coming back. New Orleans, I could see Sean Payton, but it's how sweet do you make the deal? But based on the numbers, and somebody always thinking, well, I can fix him. there's going to be a market for Kirk Cousins. The question is, how much will the Vikings have to pay? But where I'm going with this whole thing, Willie, and you can just do the slam dunk. I'll be able to posterize myself for it. He's done here in Minnesota. We can't sell him to the Viking base anymore, correct?
No. And the few people that are Kirk Cousins hanger-oners are just, that's what they are. I'm sorry. He showed me nothing except his bank account. That dude his bank account is fat. And if you didn't get that from watching him play this year, he's won one playoff game since he's been here. One. Between him and Zimmer, they've done zilch as a head coach and a quarterback. He's had the offensive coordinators. Kubiak, he needs to go too. Look, I don't get it.
Please.
How you get into professional leagues and then you just basically urinate down the side of your leg like these guys have done this year. It's sad. It's sad to watch. These are professionals. And this is what happened with nepotism, when you just get a job because your father used to be, and I don't mean to sound harsh, but I'm telling you, everybody's got their son working on the teams and stuff like, it's not football anymore like that. You need to get coaches, real coaches, and not some kid that just come home and watch film with you every day, and all of a sudden he's an offensive coordinator his first year, and all of a sudden he's got a $40 or $30 million quarterback that can't throw the ball downfield on a regular. You got an all-pro wide receiver out there, the guy's fastest guy in the league practically, and he's out here, catching balls from Mannion. I mean, please.
Yeah, so
you could have did this at the beginning of the season. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. We're almost 50 minutes into this, and there's just a couple weighty topics still out there we're going to need to really spend some time on. So, Tanishka, I want to give you sort of the last word on this as someone who follows the NFL and follows the NFL draft as much as you do. So the best path forward for the Minnesota Vikings, in your opinion, not, we have to take into account last night, Kellen Mond gets put in the game, runs a series, and then gets taken out again.
That was sad.
I mean, what does that say? So, I mean, so in your best hope, I guess, what do you hope happens for the Vikings going forward? Big picture.
Yeah, that was funny. I feel like he went in because Mannion got hurt for a drive, but someone was like, Zimmer just put him in to prove how bad he was before taking him out because he almost threw an interception that drive. But I guess big picture, I would be heading toward a full-scale rebuild, and I think I don't know specifics yet, but I would say that includes parting ways with like some vets that have been here a while. I'm not going to say names for sure yet because I don't know, but the salary cap, even if you move Cousins, you're like 11 million right now. There's just not a lot of restructures that you can do at this point. So this team's going to look really different next year is like what I can say. I would probably just draft defense this draft, get another first for Cousins, and then kind of use next year as a lame duck developing year and get your QB in 23 because I really like Bryce Young and CJ Stroud a bunch. So that's what I would do. Even though it's probably going to sting having to be really bad for a season, I think it'd be worth it in the long run.
We were bad this year.
Yeah, we had something happen yesterday that I think we all view in a different lens had it happened a season previous, I hope anyway. In Tampa's game against the New York Jets, Antonio Brown, the wide receiver who's had some issues in the past, refused to go back into the game and then left the field, discarding his equipment and some of his clothing on the way to the locker room, and then left the premises and got a plane and left on his own. And after the game, Bruce Arians, the head coach of Tampa Bay, said, I'm not going to talk about him because he's no longer a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So I'm going to talk about the guys that are going forward. And I encourage everybody, if you would, to look at Tom Brady's soundbite on that. I'm not trying to slam Bruce Arians in any way. He just did what he was professional about. He didn't take any shot at Antonio Brown. But Tom Brady's got what's been edited down to about a 45, 47-second soundbite where he talks about empathy and hoping that Antonio Brown gets help and has success. He says it's not going to be on this team, but I hope he finds success again. He's still a friend. So, Darrell, I know this is something as a former player, some people jumped on the fact that here we got a game encouraging people to hit each other and in the head as hard as they can, and then we wonder why people have issues. But I'm not saying that that's why Antonio Brown has those issues. But the NFL has taken steps to try to deal with something they weren't dealing with at all in the past, and that is players who played in your era who are no longer with us because they had serious head injuries. So, as someone like you who played the game, who's watched this, it's a personal thing for you. You watch what happened yesterday with Antonio Brown, and you say what?
Well, I mean, obviously, he has a real mental health issue. It's not a normal thing for a guy to, number one, not go back in the game. Every once in a while that happens, but the way everything that happened after that, his teammate couldn't de-escalate the situation. He walks off the field, he takes his pads off, and he kind of salutes the crowd like, I'm number one or something. And it's not a rational behavior. Is what we're not seeing rational behavior. So to me, it's quite honestly, it's a cry for help. I was going back and forth with one of my buddies this morning. I said, that's a cry for help, that he needs to get some help. It's not like, oh yeah, who doesn't want to make money? Who doesn't want to play football? It's our childhood dream to play pro basketball, pro football, pro baseball, pro hockey, to do all the things you're doing. And for him to like leave the field like that, it just means that flat and plain and simple to me, he needs help, and yeah, what Tom Brady said was classy. It was the right thing. And it's true. We do need to have empathy, and he actually needs help versus just pointing a finger. Oh, he's crazy, because crazy is that's not crazy. That's sad actually.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%, CT. I mean, I really think that people need to understand, and I don't, when I was reading Twitter and some of the things that people say, I don't think they understand what it's like to be an elite athlete, what they go through. You know what I mean? I don't think they understand the training, the preparation, the thing they do to keep their body. But then you're out there, you're running into guys that are weighing 300 pounds. I mean, you're getting hit, you're getting pounded. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. And mentally, I just don't think people understand how hard this game is hard mentally, even if you're not, even if it's not psychological. Mentally, it's just there. It's hard to stay focused and on task. And you have to be that way every single day. Every single day you show up on that field, you got to be prepared. And when you break, you break. And like Darrell said, the first thing I said to my wife yesterday when that happened was that is the biggest cry for help I've ever seen. If you don't think he needs help at this point, and if he doesn't think he needs help at this point, then he needs to look at this tape again and then just replay it and go, what were you thinking right here? Ask that one question. What were you thinking right here?
Mm-hmm. Tanishka, I'd like to change gears if I can in the time that we have left. After waiting for nearly 20 years, the Minnesota Wild finally got to host the Winter Classic, and by all reviews, they did a first-rate job of it. There were only two big problems, and they were both significant. First, they played an outdoor hockey game in Minnesota in January, so no one should have been surprised to see it become the coldest Winter Classic ever played. The second problem, nobody told the St. Louis Blues that they weren't the stars of this show. Tanishka, first I want to ask you, did you see what the Blues players did before the game?
Yeah, the Hawaiian shirts that they walked in with. That was
shorts, beach attire.
That was great.
How classic, how well played was that before the game ever dropped the puck?
I love that.
Yeah, so the Blues came out there, and then what the heck? Was it 5-second period goals? Jordan Kyrou was apparently the greatest hockey player that's ever played the game.
Yeah, it was 5. It was really bad because they started out just really slow. You could just see them getting dominated in their own zone by the Blues. And then it was still a 1-1 period, so it was fine. But the 5-second period goals, man, they just couldn't climb back out of that. I don't think anyone can. But that defense was quite literally quicksand. And I mean, I guess that's kind of expected without your two best defensemen. But they're on a 5-game losing streak now after like an 8-game winning streak. So I mean, I'm not worried. I'm actually I am worrying. I'm not gonna lie. But they were first place in the division for like the entire season. Now they're down to like third. So and the injuries. I mean, they're not. Maybe they get Brodin back for Thursday, but Spurgeon and Eck are still supposed to be out a couple weeks. So they got to figure out how to win without some of their best players really quickly before this gets out of hand.
So a couple of things I want to pass along. We have the lovely and talented Jessie Pierce, aka Jessie Heinrichs, wants to wish all of you guys a happy New Year. She did say that mindset did help the Blues, and then falling for the sympathy here, saying nobody told me those windows in the Twins press box not insulated for below zero temps. Fun fact.
Oh no.
She tweeted a picture of herself. Wow. She's typing with choppers on. Seriously? Because
I saw that.
That actually makes me angry at her. Not because I'm just like, I can't keyboard with just my regular fingers. You can do it in choppers. I really don't like you. I really don't like you.
Tim. She's a professional.
Oh my God, I guess. Yes. So she got to be there. So you guys, just one moment, that just stopped me in my tracks, and say for what you will about me, was they had these 4 legends from the Minnesota Twins, and they had John Randall, that 8 ceremonial puck drops. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? Then they get to your Minnesota Timberwolves representative, and it's like Troy Hudson. And I'm kind of like, what?
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, how far? We couldn't get anybody else. Every brother that ever we couldn't get even Kevin Lynch, who's from Bloomington. Nobody would. I'm not going to be out there. So I'm just saying.
I think they all declined. I think it was like, yeah, no. Man.
You know what's
really
sad?
great.
The sad part about that is it kind of points out that, it was an opportunity. Like, if you get Rod Carew, you get all these people out there. I watched that opening. I thought it was really cool. And I'm like, oh, T. Hud. Oh, so that's like, no one actually said, hey, how important this is to explain to Kevin Garnett or to Wally Zerbiak, I don't know, Sam Mitchell, somebody that's had like a role, Pooh Richardson, even like, hey, he's the first guy we drafted. So, you just got to, tell those guys how big of a deal it is, and give them a complete snowmobile suit so they understand, hey, you know what? I really, really wanted to go to it. My wife thought I was completely crazy. Said, you only go to like 2 hockey games a year and you want to go to the Winter Classic? I said, I kind of do. I just want to be there. But they did that. Just kind of that's
give a shout out. This guy here giving us the love is John Stuck. This is my freshman year roommate at UMD. He knows where the bodies are buried.
Wow.
So happy New Year to you, Mr. Stuck. Good to hear from you. Let's leave that one right there.
Hold on, Johnny.
So I'd like to, in the time we have left, John knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah, he does.
Let's return to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, where the University of Minnesota defeated West Virginia. Was it 18-6, 17-6?
No.
18-6, is that right? Final? Not as close as the final score might indicate. One question on my behalf. Darrell, as you're calling the game, or you guys, as you're listening to the game or watching it, and I was actually listening to it in the car and on the radio, and heard the missed field goal and then the fumble, and I'm going, we're leaving points on the board. Were you ever concerned that it was not going to turn out well for the Gophers?
Not really. Just after, we dominated the line of scrimmage. We missed some early opportunities for field goals and stuff like that, but I never felt like that the game was out of hand. So it was we were in control like 90% of the time. I just never really felt threatened by the by West Virginia and the Mountaineers. So it wasn't I didn't feel like it was out of hand at all.
I know I've been hard on PJ. I still the Iowa game I still have the Iowa game on my television system. I go back from time to time and watch some stuff, still trying to figure out what he was thinking, why he did what he did, and what I'm missing here, and I can't get there. But he is 3-0 in bowl games. That's not a coincidence, is it?
No. I think PJ is he's a very, very good coach, and I think he's got some every once in a while you wish he was more aggressive and things like that, but he is who he is. We know who he is, and I think that's who he's recruiting, the players that play to his style and his system, and we're seeing the benefits of that.
I think that would have been a much better bowl game had they not opened that roof up. That was sad. I think they put a damper on that game for me. It was absolutely ludicrous for them to do that. It was raining like nuts outside. Why play in a dome? You know what I mean? It's just crazy. And they did that, and that field looked. I felt bad for the players, man. You've been a bowl game. You're somewhere nice. You're inside, but you got to play on a wet field. I think that's what took some of the prestige from the game.
and they threw the ball downfield. I'm like, can Matt Simon just please be our offensive coordinator? Do we have to go to Kirk Ciarrocca? Why not Simon? What am I missing here?
No, I don't know. Typically quarterback coaches are the coordinators, and Matt Simon's a receiver coach. So I feel like there's like maybe part of the traditionalism of Coach Fleck, and what he likes to be kind of traditional, means I'm going to stick with what worked. And Kurt Ciarrocca did work very, very well before. It's not like he's not it did work very, very well with Ciarrocca. It's also worked well for Simon in 2 bowl games too, but that's a really, really small sample size, and it'd be a change.
Yeah, I'd make him the Vikings offensive coordinator just based on those 2 games right now. Yeah.
So receiver coaches always want to throw the ball down the field. That's why they're receivers coaches. The guys are open every day, all day.
Wolves fall last night, 108-103 to LeBron and the Lakers. No Cat, no D'Lo, Tanishka. This team's still playing hard, just not, or maybe getting the results. I mean, one might expect, but it's all about COVID right at this point. I mean, who do you have on your team, and who does the other team have on theirs?
Yeah, I didn't watch the entirety of that game because for some reason I was still watching the Vikings. But I just heard that they had a pretty big last couple minute breakdown. So it's pretty typical Minnesota sports. But yeah, I mean, they're getting most of their guys back now, so that should definitely help going forward.
Willie, your guy Cat, he is the glue.
Yeah, he is, man. He's holding this team together, and I've always had faith in this guy, man. I saw what happened to him. I saw what they did to him, what they did to KG. They brought him in, and he was the big ticket, but they just refused to build around him, and now they have, and now they brought in a real coach, a coach that kind of knows how to melt these guys together and get them to play together. And you're seeing right now the cream rise to the top. And this is what it's going to be like without him if he's not on the team. Who you're going to bring in to replace? People some might get rid of him, but who you're going to bring in to replace a guy like him who's knows where every crack on the floor is. He's a good player, and I think I still got faith in this team. They're still really good. And the teams aren't coming in here pushing them around either. They better bring their A game, or otherwise they're going to get beat by the Wolves.
Darrell, what's the situation in the Indiana men's basketball team concerning the virus? How's your son doing?
No, they're doing good. They're doing good. They played it. They had lost a tough game last night at Penn State, but they got 3 losses, 10 wins. So the road ahead of them is still, and they're healthy for the most part. They haven't had a lot of issues with the coronavirus. I think almost all of them had it, and I believe they're all vaccinated as well. So I think that helps and kind of speeds, at least if someone does have it, they can come back quicker.
If we're seeing that happen. All right, you guys, it's 10 o'clock straight up. Anybody got anything they want to add before we put a wrap on it?
Can we bring back your homeboy, your roommate, one more time, just to get a couple?
We think he's got some answers, some questions we have.
We'll go after dark. We'll do that like 10:30 tonight after dark.
He absolutely, he could tell some good stories. Unfortunately, yes, I star in all of them.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you left UMD.
It was a small town. Yes, it was.
Yeah. No, we're good.
All right,
Happy
you guys, appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. Tanishka, don't go away too fast because I want to ask about your availability for the rest of the week. And because our guy Willie's going to be doing some traveling. Safe travels, Will.
Absolutely, man.
Good to be back with all you guys again. We appreciate this. This is where we're going to leave the conversation for now. This is Let's Play every day. What we want to do is we want to bring some different voices, bring them to the table, put them in a format where you don't have to sit there for 2.5 hours and listen to 1,000 different commercials. Let's talk about Northern Lids every once in a while, and we'll get this out there in a half hour and give you something to think about and talk about. And we appreciate your participation. We'll put a wrap on it for now. I'll be coming back at the top of the hour with Let's Play Super Draft. Who am I starting in this game between Cleveland and Pittsburgh tonight? I have no idea, but I'll tell you in an hour.